Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Now, if you're looking for my MLB best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. Of course, I'm always running my $15 MLB best bet, so check it out at Pickdawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Tuesday, August 23rd. First up, we see a doubleheader between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs. Now, I made the decision to no longer give out plays officially on the rundown for doubleheader games this season, as a lot of the times we're seeing a lot of the starting pitchers that are listed for Game 1 or Game 2 completely flip, or maybe not even pitch that day at all, and the information changes so much that we're usually stuck with plays that don't even make sense from what we talked about the night before when I do post these rundown videos. So I'm going to talk about some of the starting pitchers that we should see on Tuesday between these two teams, and I'll do that going forward with doubleheader games, but just not give out an official play, especially when we don't know for sure where each pitcher is going to start in each game. Now, Javier Assad is supposed to make his Major League debut on Tuesday for the Cubs. He's had pretty good numbers in the minor leagues this season. He's pitched in AAA Iowa and AA Tennessee. He's 5-3 with a 2.66 ERA, a 9.2 Ks per 9 rating, not too bad, a 2.9 walks per 9, not bad either. And you look at the home runs per 9, less than homer per 9 at 0.8. That's what you like to see in starting pitching. A 1.237 whip, a little bit high, so the base hits per 9, a little bit high, but still, he's got 111 strikeouts and 108 innings in the minor leagues, so he's had a lot of work in minor leagues this season. I think he pitches okay in this spot, but this is a really tough Cardinals lineup to make your Major League debut against, so we're going to have to take that into consideration as well. On the other side, Adam Wainwright is projected to start in Game 1 for right now. We'll see if he's moved to Game 2, but Wainwright has struggled on the road this year. I think it's important to note that his ERA is above 4 away from home this season at 4.43, and the Chicago Cubs' numbers against righties in the last month pretty darn good offensively, so I could see Wainwright struggling in this spot, whether it's in Game 1 or Game 2. I think the Cubs could get to him for a few runs, especially because he is on the road here. So good luck with these doubleheader games. I'll be staying away from them most likely unless we get some significant information a good amount of time before the game starts, but that's some of the things I wanted to talk about for this doubleheader. Next up, we see the Subway Series between the New York Mets and the New York Yankees in the Bronx. A TBS, a national TV game here at 7:05 Eastern. Frankie Montas is not pitching well with his new team. He did struggle quite a bit in his last start against the Toronto Blue Jays. 6 innings he went, but 8 base hits, 6 earned runs, a home run, and only 2 strikeouts. And really, his strikeout numbers are concerning lately. Only 8 Ks through his first 14 innings with his new team. I would worry about that a little bit, and we know the New York Mets, they limit strikeouts at the plate already as a lineup, especially against those right-handed pitchers, so I could see the Mets getting to Montas, but we already saw Taijuan Walker get hit quite a bit against the Yankees in his start against them back on July 26th. Now, he went 6 innings, he only gave up 3 earned runs, but he gave up 7 base hits, 2 home runs, he only had 3 strikeouts, and really, he was struggling before his injury. He gave up 3 earned and a homer against the Marlins, he gave up 8 earned and 2 homers against the Braves in a 9-6 loss. And he pitched against the Braves last time out, 2 innings, no earned runs, but he got hurt in that start. So, we'll have to see how he bounces back from that one. I do think this is going to be a higher scoring game overall. Both teams right now are priced at -110, so this is a pick'em, and I agree with the books. I think this is a coin flip game for who's going to win it, but I do think we're going to see some scoring. I'm going to take the over in this Mets-Yankees game. Next up, we see the Atlanta Braves taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Max Fried and JT Brubaker are your starters. Now, I like the Atlanta Braves to win this game, and I would lay the run line here, but the money line price and the run line price really, really steep. A little bit too heavy for my liking. I'm just going to take the under in this game, as I think you're getting a much better price there, and I think there's going to be a low-scoring game overall. JT Brubaker's put together a couple of nice starts, 12 innings, 2 earned runs combined, a home run, but 13 strikeouts against the D-backs and Red Sox. I think he pitches about 5 to 6 decent innings here, while on the other side, Max Fried is pitching really well for Atlanta. Now he's got a 2.60 ERA on the season. He's pitched well against the Mets in his last 2 starts, giving up only 4 earned runs combined in 13 innings pitched with 11 strikeouts there. He's not really given up a lot of home runs, only 7 this entire season, which is really impressive in 145 innings pitched. The walks, not really an issue lately. He did have an issue at one point, but only 25 walks overall this year and only 3 in his last 5 starts combined. I think Fried pitches well. I think Brubaker does a decent enough job. I don't love this Pirates bullpen, but I still think this game goes under the total, under 8 here. Next up, we see the Chicago White Sox taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Dylan Cease and Austin Voth are your projected starters. Now, if you guys know me, I'm a fan of both of these starting pitchers. I really like what I've seen from Austin Voth as a starting pitcher with his new club in the Orioles. As a reliever, he just wasn't getting it done, but we've seen him put together a few really impressive outings as a starter, and that includes his most recent start against the Toronto Blue Jays, where he went 6 innings, no earned runs. He only had 3 strikeouts, so obviously you'd like to see the strikeout numbers rise, but I do think he has good strikeout stuff. His velocity's there with his fastball, so I do think he'll have a decent outing here against the White Sox team that was pretty much really disappointed in their last game against the Royals, a game that they really needed to win if they want to get into that American League playoff race. And on the road against an inferior opponent, you got to win those types of games, but they couldn't get it done. And, Dylan Cease, he's definitely the best option the White Sox have. He's been one of the best options in the American League this season. We did see him struggle a bit on the road or at home in his last start against the Astros. 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, a home run, 3 walks, and only 4 strikeouts. We know the Orioles, very tough to beat at Camden Yards and very tough to beat as a right-handed pitcher. The Orioles are hitting righties pretty well. I'm going to take the Orioles in the first 5 innings, getting a half a run. They are the underdogs here at home, pretty sizable dogs as well. I think they keep this game close. I wouldn't be surprised to see it tied after 5 innings, maybe even a no-score 0-0 after 5 innings, but nonetheless, I think the Orioles are competitive in the beginning of this game. I think they keep it close. I think Voth gives them a chance. So give me the Orioles plus a half a run in the first 5. In our next ball game, we see the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Philadelphia Phillies with 2 lefties on the mound, Nick Lodolo and Ranger Suarez. Now, both of these lefties did have success against the opponent in their most recent outing. Ranger Suarez went 7 innings, shutout baseball, 8 strikeouts against the Cincinnati Reds, and that was at Great American Ballpark. While Nick Lodolo on the other side, he went 7 innings, 8 strikeouts of shutout baseball. So both guys pretty identical lines there. It was a 1-0 final score in favor of the Cincinnati Reds actually in that game. And I like the under in this spot yet again. And we're going to see this game not at as much a hitter-friendly ballpark in Citizens Bank Park compared to Cincinnati. So I do think the offense will be even in more worse shape. Both of these guys are pitching well overall. I do like what I'm seeing from Ranger Suarez, keeping the ball on the ground, only giving up 1 home run in his last 5 starts combined, getting a lot of ground ball outs and the ability to get those double play outs as well. Nick Lodolo, more of a power pitcher. He's going to walk some batters, but he's also got really good strikeout stuff. And he's only given up 2 home runs in his last 5 starts combined, which is impressive from a guy who's had home run issues at the beginning of the season. Give me the under in this Reds-Phillies ballgame. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. We're going to see Jose Suarez and Corey Kluber in this matchup. Now, the Tampa Bay Rays numbers against left-handed pitching in the last month aren't the greatest offensively, and Jose Suarez has actually been pitching pretty well for the Angels overall. His last 4 starts combined, only giving up 3 earned runs. He's striking out a good amount of hitters, not really giving up a lot of walks, and hasn't given up a single home run in that stretch either. So, it's a pretty low-scoring Tampa Bay Rays lineup. I do think they'll struggle a bit against Suarez. While on the other side, Corey Kluber's given up some homers lately. He's more of a pitch-to-contact guy, but he's given up at least 1 home run in each of his last 4 starts. I know the Angels aren't the greatest lineup themselves, but I think they'll be able to find a few runs on Kluber to keep this game close. I think it's going to be a 1-run game either way you go, with either team winning it outright, but I'm going to take the Los Angeles Angels plus the 1.5 here on the road. We're getting a pretty good price with the road dog. Next up, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the Detroit Tigers with Carlos Rodon and Drew Hutchinson on the mound. Now, I know the Giants' numbers, team OPS-wise, against righties are not the best in the last 30 days, but when you look at their isolated power numbers, they're top 10 in baseball on that stretch. And Drew Hutchinson struggled at home this year with a 1-5 record, a 4.71 ERA. His advanced numbers are not great because he walks a good amount of hitters, he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, and he gives up a lot of base hits. I do think the Giants will get to him for a few runs in this one, and I think Carlos Rodon pitches well also. When you look at his last start, really strung out against the Arizona Diamondbacks. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 11 strikeouts, and overall, his last 4 starts have been fantastic. He hasn't faced the toughest of lineups, the Cubs, the A's, the Pirates, the D-backs, but he's getting the job done for San Francisco. They've won 3 of those last 4 games outright, and with a few run line covers in there as well. So I think the Giants win this game on the road, and I think they cover the run line as well. Give me the San Francisco Giants here, laying the 1.5 runs on the road. Next up, we see the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Boston Red Sox in Fenway Park. Ross Stripling and Josh Winkowski are your starters. Now, the last time the Blue Jays went to Fenway Park, there was a game in that series that was a little bit abnormal when you look at the score sheet, and that was that 28-5 final score in Fenway Park. It was the first game after the All-Star break for both of these teams, and it was ugly to watch, to say the least. That was a Nathan Eovaldi start for the Red Sox, and nothing went their way in that game. There was a big error in center field where the ball went over Duran's head, and it was just an ugly game from start to finish. But although I don't think this game gets nearly as ugly as that one, I still think that the over is in play. The total is set pretty high at 10 for a reason. I think the weather is going to benefit the hitters, and we're also playing at a very hitter-friendly ballpark to begin with. But I also do like the Blue Jays here outright on the money line. Josh Winkowski, not my favorite starting pitcher, and we're starting to see him regress quite a bit lately. A 5.19 ERA overall, but with a 5.94 ERA at Fenway Park. He's only had 15 strikeouts at home this year with the 33 1/3 innings pitched this year. That's not going to get it done. 6 home runs allowed at Fenway already. He's given up at least 1 homer in 4 of his last 5. He's not striking out anybody. He's giving up a lot of base hits and a lot of earned runs. And he really hasn't even faced the toughest of lineups. His most recent start was 5 innings, 6 earned, 2 homers against the Pittsburgh Pirates of all teams. So give me the Toronto Blue Jays here on the money line, and I do lean towards the over as well. Next up, we see the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Kansas City Royals with Zach Davies and Jonathan Heasley on the mound. Now, we've seen Jonathan Heasley struggle quite a bit in 2022, a 1-7 record with that 5.61 ERA. He gave up a lot of home runs. His last start, he gave up 2 homers to the White Sox. Now, he only gave up 2 earned runs, so those are 2 solo shots, but still, we've seen the home run ball really hurt him already this year. 16 home runs in 75 2/3 innings at the very, very high home runs per 9 rating, with only 52 strikeouts and 32 walks allowed as well. I just can't trust him here against a Diamondbacks lineup that's proven they're pretty solid against right-handed pitching, especially they limit strikeouts at the plate, which is very important. You look at their strikeout rate, 17.1% in the last month. That's second lowest in baseball, only to the Guardians. In terms of team OPS, the Diamondbacks are 10th in the league in the last month. Isolated power numbers, they're 11th, so they have been competitive at the plate. I think they win this game, and I've liked what I've seen from Zach Davies as of late also. I think the D-backs should be much larger favorites in this spot, only -125. I know their bullpen is not the greatest, but neither is Kansas City's, and the Royals have had to use a lot of their bullpen lately, especially because they had to play on Monday against the White Sox in that makeup game while the D-backs had a nice day off. So I'm going to take the Arizona Diamondbacks here. I think everything is advantageous for them. Give me the D-backs on the money line. Next up, we see the Minnesota Twins taking on the Houston Astros. No official lineup for this one, as the Twins have not announced an official starter. Justin Verlander going for the Astros. Now, Verlander hasn't been his sharpest as of late. His last 2 starts giving up 6 earned runs combined against the Texas Rangers and the Chicago White Sox. I know this Minnesota Twins offense has been good, but the bullpen hasn't always been trustworthy this season, and I just don't really love them in this particular game. You know, their offense wasn't the greatest in that Rangers series. We've seen that overall this season, it's been their best asset. They're, I think, top 10 in team OPS overall this year in the major leagues. But, you know, I just haven't been impressed with this Twins team lately, and especially on the road where they're 3 games under 500, while the Astros 21 games above 500 at home this season. I'm guessing the Astros are probably going to be -200 or plus in this game. So instead of just taking the money line, I'm going to lay the run line here with Houston, but not my favorite game on the board just because we don't have a ton of information from Minnesota's side. Next up, we see the Colorado Rockies hosting the Texas Rangers. Dane Dunning and German Marquez are the starters. You know, these 2 teams are pretty similar in my eyes. I think both of these starting pitchers also pretty similar. Both of these lineups are pretty solid. The Rockies play much better at home, obviously, offensively. But, you know, I think this is going to be a close series. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring series. I don't love these bullpens. I don't love these rotations, but I do think the Rangers, if I had to pick a side, getting plus money with the Rangers makes sense to me. Dane Dunning's been sharp lately. His last 5 starts, giving up no more than 3 earned runs in any of those outings. His strikeout numbers have actually been up a little bit in those starts. The ground ball percentage is still where you like to see it, about 53% on the year. So I think he pitches well. He already had 1 good start at Coors Field in his career. He went 4 2/3 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, so not too bad there. I'm going to take the Texas Rangers here, getting the plus money, and what should be a really fun series to watch. Next up, we see an interleague matchup, another series that I think will be pretty entertaining to watch. The Cleveland Guardians and the San Diego Padres. Mike Clevenger and Aaron Savale are your starters. I'm going to take the plus money yet again in this spot. I do like a couple of the dogs here with this Tuesday card. Aaron Savale, really strong outing his last start. I know it was against the Detroit Tigers, one of the weaker offenses in baseball, but still 6 innings, 1 earned run, and 10 strikeouts. Savali's strikeout numbers have been picking it up, and I do think that's going to help him overall. He's also limiting the home run ball, and that's the big thing for Savali. At the beginning of the season, he was giving up home runs left and right, but in his last 4 starts, no home runs allowed. That's really important, and also only 1 walk allowed in those 4 starts combined. So I do like what I'm seeing from Savali. On the other side, Mike Clevenger was not very good in his last outing, and that was against the Miami Marlins, who we know are struggling mightily on offense. Now, we saw Clevenger give up 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 4 walks, only 1 strikeout, and 4 1/3 innings pitched. We've seen him struggle against those tough lineups. He faced the Dodgers back on August 6th, 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers. The Guardians aren't the Dodgers, but they are pretty solid offensively against those right-handed pitchers. They're a pretty tough team to strike out. They have the lowest strikeout rate in baseball in the last 30 days against those righties. So I think Clevenger struggles. I think Savali is good enough. I know the Padres have a good lineup against righties, but I think the Guardians are getting more than enough value here on the money line. Give me Cleveland plus money here. Next up, we see the Miami Marlins taking on the Oakland Athletics. Pablo Lopez and Zach Logue are your starters. The Marlins have struggled against lefties, and I know Zach Logue is not my favorite option to back on the mound, but the Marlins overall this season have been the worst lineup against left-handed pitching, in my opinion. When you look at the numbers in the last 30 days, Miami's 24th in isolated power against those lefties. They're dead last in baseball in team OPS with a 589 team OPS. They have the second highest strikeout rate at 29.3%. In terms of walk percentage, one of the lowest in baseball as well. So even though it is Zach Logue, I still think that Pablo Lopez hasn't been good enough for me to pass up plus money here with the home team. The Oakland A's have been pretty good offensively against those right-handed pitchers, and Pablo Lopez has not been pitching well at all. His last start, 4 2/3 innings, 6 earned runs, a home run. He's given up at least 1 homer in 4 of his last 5. So both of these pitchers are not pitching well, and I think I would trust the home team that's showed a lot more promise offensively. So give me the Oakland A's here getting plus money on the money line. Next up, we have a great pitching matchup between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Corbin Burnes and Tony Gonsolin. I'm going to take the under in this game. I don't really know which side I would like to take, as I do think both of these starters continue to pitch well. Corbin Burnes, he did struggle at the end of his outing against LA, but overall, it was a success for the Brewers as they won the game 5-3, and Burnes went 5 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs, and 6 strikeouts. Not the line that he would love to take all the time, but he has still been one of the better pitchers in the National League this year. Top 10 in ERA, top 10 in WHIP, top 10 in Ks, second in baseball in strikeouts, 187 strikeouts. So I think he pitches well enough here to keep this game low scoring. On the other side, Tony Gonsolin, he was dominant against the Brewers, and I really like that he had 8 strikeouts in 7 innings against this Brew Crew lineup. That's the big thing for Gonsolin, is he's not really a strikeout pitcher, but if he's able to earn a strikeout once every inning or even more than that, that's where I really like him, because he's also a really good ground ball pitcher. He can get out of jams. He doesn't really give up a lot of home runs. He doesn't really walk a lot of batters. So if you add those strikeouts to his repertoire, watch out, because Gonsolin could be one of the more untouchable pitchers in the league. And he's 8-1 with a 1.53 ERA at home this season. Give me the under in this Brewers-Dodgers matchup. Next up, our final game of the night, we see the Washington Nationals taking on the Seattle Mariners. Eric Fedde and Robbie Ray are the starters, and I'm going to take the under in this game to end the night. I do lean towards the Mariners here on the run line, but don't love the price that we're getting with the home team. And I think you look at the Nationals pitching staff, they held the Padres to 8 runs in a 4-game series, so about 2 runs per game in that series. That's solid for a Nationals pitching staff that hasn't had the best start to the season. Eric Fedde did pitch well in his rehab start as he's coming back from injury, and his last outing against these Mariners back on July 13th, he went 5 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs. He only had 1 strikeout, but that was in a 2-1 final score, a low-scoring game as well. We're getting some value here on the under. I think the total's set just a little bit too high. I don't think the Nationals do much of anything offensively against Robbie Ray and this very, very good Mariners bullpen. And I think the Mariners struggle a little bit with Eric Fedde and this Nationals bullpen as well. Give me the under to end the night. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday, August 23rd. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. And don't forget, you can use the code AUG15, that's AUG15, to save 15% at checkout. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.